Hello, everybody. This is S.O.S, Standardizing our substitutes, and this is a visual and audio example, an explanation of what S.O.S stands for, and an example of how it would work if it would be implemented. So first things first, this is all assuming that this is passed and implemented somewhere. So the first step is getting everyone to get an FBI and BCI background check. Just making sure that each individual is cleared to do anything within a school building. If they are not clear, then obviously they will not be put onto the list to be potential substitutes in the future. So once everyone has done that and the list is processed, then the system can get rolling. So this is where the example starts. So this individual has been on the list and is just receiving her letter informing her of the date of when she may be called in to substitute. So we can see here in the top left that she's opening the mailbox, grabbing out the mail, and then grabbing the letter out, and seeing that she has a letter from the government regarding S.O.S. So here we see an example email of informing your place of work that you have received a letter from S.O.S, standardizing our substitutes, and that you will potentially be out on a certain date. So obviously this is just a sample email. It's very basic, very simple. Depending on where you work, depending on your relationship, you may have to go into further detail explaining this. Since it is, in this example, put in place already, the workplace should be prepared to have individuals out on certain days to substitute. Of course, this will not happen very often. Each person really should only have to substitute maybe once or twice a decade or so because of how many people would be on the list. So an average place of work can maybe expect like one or two people to be out a year. But of course, those are things that I can only guesstimate at the moment. So the email reads, Mr., Mrs., or Miss Boss, whatever the name is. This is blank. I wanted to inform you that I've received a letter from the government regarding S.O.S, standardizing our substitutes, and I am potentially being called in to substitute on such and such a date. As you know, due to this, I may or may not be able to come into work on this date. Sincerely, number one worker. Very simple, very straightforward for this example email. Okay, so this is a few months later after the initial letter. So this would be the days preceding that date or even the morning of. So the easy path is if you do not receive a call. So if an individual does not receive a call informing them that they are needed to substitute on the date the letter stated, then they need to do no farther actions. The individual can return to work this day if they need to, or if the place of work may have already planned around the individual being out, then that's obviously up to the place of work on whether or not they're expected to be in. If they do receive a call, then they are expected to report to the school that they are being called upon at least 30 minutes prior to school start time. The individual may either dress up to teacher dress code or may dress in their normal work attire. So we'll get to that kind of aspect in a second. Okay, so arriving to school. So back to our example gal. So on their date of substituting, this individual arrived at their school and got checked in at the main office, in which she was instructed to which classroom she is needed. From the picture, one can inquire that this is an elementary school, seeing the letters in the background, the fun shapes shapes corresponding with the letters, and this individual chose to dress up just in normal dress-up attire rather than her place of work. So what to do once you get there? So while at school, the substitute teacher, if comfortable and requested by the teacher, may teach a lesson. If not requested by the teacher, or if the individual is not comfortable, the substitute may share some of what they do, how they got involved with what they do, and more about themselves. So the hope is that this gives opportunity for students to learn about different jobs and opportunities they could do in the future that otherwise may be unknown. And this is especially important in low-income areas. So many students in low-income areas are not very exposed to different opportunities and jobs, so they may get to see people that were raised in a home like them or situation like them that went on to do something that they hope to do and may inspire them a little bit. So regarding the dressing up in normal work attire, so For these examples, you might have like a construction worker come in their normal outfit, a doctor or nurse come in their scrubs, someone that's a lawyer come dressed up, or someone that's an artist come in their normal artist attire and show off what they do a little bit. So if they're a painter, maybe paint a little bit, do a short painting lesson. If they're a dancer, show off a little bit, maybe teach a couple simple dance moves to the students. So have fun with it. It's a chance for the students to be able to learn and grow past what typical schools are able to do. So finishing up, after substituting for the day, that individual is done for the time being. Their name will be placed on the list again, but will not be called upon for quite some time unless requested. One hope that I had would be that some individuals enjoy the substituting opportunity and may appear and be called more often. However, even if this doesn't happen, from S.O.S, a lack of substitutes should not happen, as we'll have bountiful people on this list. And again, if the person does not wish to substitute quickly afterwards, they'll be placed on the list. Probably won't be called upon for another 8 to 10 years, just at the rate that this is going. So why is this all important? So in our current system, we really don't work to favor substitutes and favor the education system. And one example I had someone bring up to me was jury duty and how we almost favor law and jurisdiction over education in our current system. So this concept, S.O.S, is kind of making substitute teaching somewhat like jury duty, in which it's expected of every able citizen to do. And it's really just helping build up the education system, get everyone more involved, and make the United States an even more educated place. Additionally, it would help because right now there's a lack of substitutes in a lot of places, and teachers are being pressured at times to come into work through sickness, through loss, through grief, because of that lack of substitutes. So this would help to eliminate that issue. It would possibly give teachers that have maternity or paternity leave more time off. Teachers that are sick, especially in a world of COVID, they wouldn't feel as pressure to come back right away, that kind of thing. So ultimately, if S.O.S would somehow get implemented, I think it really would change how the education system works in our society, and it would really change the outlook of education, as everyday people would be in school seeing what teachers go through every day. And I think it'd really bring to light how much teachers do for our society. So thank you everybody for listening, and I hope you have a good day.